Another video. Since it's near the time of Halloween, I thought I would share something that I personally experienced. About a year ago, I experienced these things that happened to me, and it's nothing bad or anything. It's just similar events that have happened in my life, and some people will look at it as, oh, are you in witchcraft? Are you in this and you that? No, I'm not. I'm just gonna tell you, everybody, I'm not into witchcraft or anything, or I'm not in listening to the devil in any way, but I'm sure we all do at times. But no. What I'm gonna say is not to put down any beliefs systems or anything, but like in my opinion, um, like I said in the other video, there's nothing wrong with reading up things. There's nothing wrong with being educated about, if you're curious about witchcraft or you're curious about demons, if you're curious about possession, there's no wrong in that. And I think it's important. But anyways, this is going to be about pretty much my personal experience. About a year ago, I think sometimes too, it's who our friends we associate, and I wouldn't say it's just by my friend that things like this happen. I'm just saying I was more aware of it, and it just intrigued me when they started talking about certain things. So, it's nothing wrong. It's just something I personally experienced. Anyways, a year ago, I was in a cemetery after I went to the library, and I was walking, and I didn't really see a ghost or anything, but I knew a presence was near. And a lot of people would look at me, you're crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy. I know that. But for some reason, I knew my uncle that passed away was right there. And at the time, I was depressed. At the time, I wanted to kill myself. I was suicidal. But he was there. And in some form, I saw his face, and he looked a lot like my other uncle. And I was kind of stunned. I'm like, what is he doing here? And then, just like how you and me speak to one another, but it was more like in a conscience based type of thought. I heard him speak to me, and he said, it's going to be okay. And then a few times after that, weeks after that, I heard my old pastor's wife voice. And she knew that my life is not where it needed to be. And she said, Hannah, you need to do what's right. You need to go on the right path. And I'm not making any of this up. People think, oh, you need to be careful what you listen to, who your friends are, and, pretty much put me down for hearing something. When it's like, if you hear yelling in the street, it's like that, it's not like something you can ignore. And soon after that, yes, sometimes your friends do influence you. And I did speak to some friends. One was pagan and one was actually a witch, just to get insight, And I wanted to learn more about it because I think it's important not just to learn, the Bible truths and angels and God Himself, but we also need to know who we're fighting against, the devil. We need to know what's on the dark side to figure out, how can we win the battle. And anyways, after that happened, I did do something that is considered witchcraft, but it was only because I was bitter. It was only because I was mad. And yes, I probably was in a bad spot. I pretty much did something that I probably shouldn't have done, but nothing really happened after that, but just I was more paranoid. Um, where I pretty much took a picture of my ex and I ripped or I cut around where his head is, and the person said, every day say, get your head on straight, because I wanted my ex to change, but it didn't even work. So after that, I felt creeped out, and so I just stopped doing that. But that was my little experience of witchcraft. But after that, I noticed I felt like I was more paranoid. And yes, we live in a day and age, our mind can imagine things, but in some things, they were real. I felt they were real. I sensed presence. And, my advice, it's not really good to dabble in it. It's not, but it's okay to learn things. So when people come to you for questions, you know how to answer them, And then I've had friends who'd experienced things, they wanted to talk to a dead loved one. I'm like, does not sound like a good idea. And I asked a friend who was a witch, and they said, you don't need to do black candles, because that's black magic. And that's the thing, there's magic in itself, and there's spells in itself, but then there's black magic. And I know not to mess with that, because that's going to cause evil spirits and demons to come into your life, and that's asking for trouble. But I learned too from a friend that he did that. He wanted to talk to someone who is dead. And that's another thing. I didn't ask for my uncle to come my way, but I feel like personally he is a guardian angel. And people will say we have guardian angels. But I believe family members who have gone on, are they not watching us? That's my thing I think of. I feel the presence. So it's not just a myth, it actually happened to me. And so, anyways, I hope this is not long and drawn out, but I still experience some similar things, but not quite as bad. There was one time just recently, a few months ago, where I was trying to sleep. And at the time, I'm here with my boyfriend. And right before going to bed, I heard someone say, you need to leave him. But he said his name, so I'm not going to say his name, but you need to leave him. And in my conscious mind, I didn't say it out loud. In my conscious mind, I said, who are you? What do you want? And he said that he was my boyfriend's grandfather. And this is why I think it's true. That you're not just hearing things. And yes, your mind can play tricks. Because ever since that happened, it hasn't gone well. I've been in arguments. I've had this and that happen. And then one instant, and then I'll close, is someone, when I was trying to sleep one time, said, death is coming. And it's so weird because, and I'm not lying, I'm being honest, this did happen to me. A few days after someone told me death is coming, few of my boyfriend's dogs died. It just freaked me out. So when I do hear people, and I know it could be my guardian angels, I know it could be just demons trying to patronize me, trying to get me all fear. I do understand that. But when you hear someone say in your conscious mind, or hear it out loud, death is coming, and then a few days after that, death comes to animals or something, I think you need to open your ears then. Anyways, I hope that's not too much for some people to take in, but I just want to experience a true life story of what happened to me. And like it, subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you have a good, safe Halloween, and just try to keep your focus where it needs to be. Bye.